Good evening. This is Penelope Flynn with Cranston and Sonia, your other Blerdsassins Next Door. And we are here this night in the Other Hood to discuss possession being nine-tenths of the law and also a subgenre of our favorite horror. So before we get started, we will talk about the weather and start that with Sonia. How's the weather? Okay, we are not hearing Sonia. Hello, hello.
Yeah, NSA is at it again.
That's right. So we want to hear what you have to say about the weather. It's private. It's secret. It's
Well, they say they can control the weather. So, hey.
so I heard. Yeah. All right. Well, I gather that you can go on and do your report there, Cranston, or hopefully we'll
Okay.
get Sonia back in pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, I think church attendance is going to be way up this weekend because in every text chain that I was in, the people were ascribing divine intervention as letting the storm miss this part of the state. It was almost the same track as before. It
Wow.
hit Tampa, which is about 200 miles away, and then hit across the middle of the state and then headed out just a little north of Daytona, although we did get wind and rain as close as St. Augustine, which is like 30 miles away. But here locally,
You got nothing.
nothing. We had some winds, and that was about it.
Well, we thought the same thing was going to happen. Our family members who were in Fort Lauderdale, but they said, nope, nothing. They got
that was the thing for both Helene and I was wondering how they went. Where they go? How they get from Helene to Milton in that 2-week period? They had 4 other hurricanes that had formed out in the Gulf before Milton,
but they didn't come.
No, they didn't come that way. But both storms had missed the entire southern part of the state, Miami and Fort Lauderdale, and
they thought they would get something.
Nothing.
Didn't get anything, which is great.
Yeah, Kirk is still out in the Atlantic though. Which my roommate commented about how many of my exes were named had hurricanes named after them this season, and we just blew them away.
Yeah,
well, that kind of describes my life too. They're out of there.
Right.
But here in Rochester, they're trying to finally settle on a weather pattern. It was nice and beautiful yesterday, and today it was cooler, like 10 degrees cooler, and it's about to rain. And it's supposed to rain all day, all night tonight, and all day tomorrow.
Wow.
So, and it'll be going down. I think one of the low temperatures, I'm looking at my calendar thingy. It's supposed to get down to like 39 tonight and 37. And then by next Saturday, I'll bounce back up to the 70s.
Very cool. How about you, Otto? How's your weather?
It was hot, actually. It was too hot for October.
Yeah, I can say that.
I'm waiting for fall weather, to be honest.
Eventually, hopefully, it'll come soon. Okay, with something to cool down with. Right? Well, now that we have gotten past our weather, we're getting into our topic, which is possession, and how many films out there deal with some form of possession. And so we started thinking, of course, there's, the standards of, demon possession, but there's so many other types of possession as well. And so we wanted to get started, I guess. Cranston, do you have a particular possession film that you find to be, one of your favorites?
Yes, there is, and I do. And that's a film from about, everything is like 20 years ago or something like that. But it was Kyle MacLachlan, and I can't think of the other actor. See the other actor's face, I can't think of his name, but the title was The Hidden. And the premise of the film is that Kyle MacLachlan plays a FBI agent searching for a serial killer who, it turns out, is actually an extraterrestrial who goes from planet to planet, and he's just he's the original chaos agent that he will just take over somebody's body, have them commit these really awful, violent crimes, and they'll get all shot up and on the verge of death and rush to the hospital, and he'll just switch to another model and another body and keep doing the same thing.
I remember. I mean, when you're explaining it, I remember it. I'm going to have to look at IMDb to see the pictures that they have for it and promoting it.
Yeah.
Because it sounds, I know I've seen this, and what is it?
Yeah,
I have seen this.
It was, the title was The Hidden, and it was, and I thought it was really good as they were talking on this this thing on YouTube. They were saying about movies now. The movies seem to fall only into two categories. They're either multi-million-dollar, like $200 or $300 million tent poles, or they are like, you know, $59 independent films that nobody will ever see. Right. But there are a lot of movies that are considered classics now that that were not did not fall in that category, that were made for, I think, like Apocalypse Now was only like $60 million. And you think about that, and they filmed it in the Philippines for 2 years, and that's what it cost. A lot of other movies like The Conversation and Deliverance and things like that were not over $50 million. Just a lot of them were made in $20 or $30 million. And they said there is no room for those kind of mid-level movies anymore because it's either going to be, it has to make $1 billion at the box office, or it has to be something that is made on a shoestring. Right. But it was one of those mid-level things that they could do, that you could make, and back in the day, and it was entertaining, it was good, and, you know, it wasn't going to make $100 million, but it would, you know, more than break even on its production costs. So
cool. So these people, I guess these kind of films, there are less of them because there's they don't hit that big box bringing in tentpole money, right?
Yeah, well, it's the kind of thing where they're talking about that the Joker has not done well, and if you read about the decisions they made, you can kind of understand why. But Beetlejuice has made so much money that they can write it off, so they can still say we had a successful season, even though this was another Paramount film, and Paramount had a whole string of failures this year. But of course, because they can count on that as a thing to bail them out, then they're not going to even waste their time doing something that's going to cost less, even though it would find an audience. It would be something that would, you know, turn a small profit for them. But, you know, now everything has to be, you know, like Barbie or Oppenheimer numbers to be considered successful.
Which is crazy, you know? Yeah. I think it's interesting that you chose this film, The Hidden, because I remember this, because I think the thing like that happens like with Michael Nouri at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I remember this film, but with something like this, that you pick a film that has, I guess, it's not our normal consideration of possession, which we always think of, it's a demon possession. But something that is sci-fi possession, correct?
Yeah, right.
So I think that's kind of another thing. Like we have so many different types of possession that we don't think of the fact that you know, there's other things other than just you know, demon possession.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that makes it interesting, because it takes something that you are familiar with, but it brings it at you from a direction that you are not familiar with, and you said, okay, that's it. and you can do things with that other things don't. You don't have to worry about having, like Van Helsing come in with his,
Hmm.
you know, kit of stakes and mallets and everything. You don't
Right.
have to think of it as, the priest has to come in and bless this place for some spirit that does it. That, it shows you that these things exist
Hmm.
or can exist on other levels and other places. And also it gives you a new set of people to look
Right.
at, instead of having, you have cops looking for this person and this thing, and they don't quite believe and all of that and everything. So it's interesting, but again, you very seldom get anything that's going to be that interesting or that has that kind of backstory and stuff, unless it's going to be, the another nightmare on some
Hmm.
street or something like that they're coming at again,
Yeah.
and getting bad to the point that is after they have run out. And it's something you should think about, because after you run out, like I think there were like 6 or 7 Freddy Krueger movies with the Richard Edlund movies, and then they did a reboot of the same story, only this time they just get new actors, and you assume. And
It's
again,
kind of
those
sad.
and those two were movies that were made on essentially shoestring budgets,
Right.
and use practical effects and not a lot of CGI and this kind of thing, and it got a following. But then you decide to reboot the exact same story with the exact same characters. You just use different actors, which makes you wonder,
Yeah.
well, what's
Well, I
the?
guess because they figure that so many younger people never saw the original, so they
Mm-hmm.
give them back the same thing that we've already done, but with actors that they know.
Mm-hmm.
And since they already own the
Yeah.
project, they don't have to waste any money getting anything new.
Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like the McDonaldization of media, in that it's just like if you go to, I saw something the other day, they were saying that McDonald's is so, wants their food to be so uniform in
Hmm.
all 5,000 restaurants, that there is a division of Coca-Cola that is totally devoted to uh, producing Coca-Cola for McDonald's restaurants, and they said that the for those people with those refined tastes
Hmm.
that can really tell the difference, that they said that that a Coca-Cola product that you get at a McDonald's is not going to taste the same as one anywhere else. They have their
Oh,
own. The water has to be filtered at a certain temperature and
oh,
cooled all
interesting.
the time. The mixture for the syrup is different and everything like that. Delivery is different, and it's that kind of thing. But that's what they're doing with these films and stuff. They're making films that are like a fast food product. They're going to be the same no matter
Hmm.
where they come from. And so it may be something that will be they'll keep you satisfied for about the time that meal is going to take, and after that it's going to be totally dispensable. You won't remember it unless somebody reminds you. Yeah, that were in the last one before.
Okay. Mm.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine if that's somebody's job,
Yeah. Yeah,
a
I can.
Coca-Cola job?
Yeah, it's amazing, but yeah, it's somebody's
Yeah,
job.
yeah. I want to meet somebody who does that. It's like,
Yeah.
you feel like your job has to have meaning. Like
Hmm.
a societal benefit or something. I guess you
Yeah.
could frame it. I know we're off topic, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but now that we're talking, do you have a favorite possession type film?
I got two.
Go ahead.
Of course, I got my classic, which is The Exorcist,
Yes.
and
And
so
we
The
mean the
Exorcist,
Exorcist, the first Exorcist, correct?
the first Exorcist and the third Exorcist.
Okay. But not the second Exorcist, because that's
Definitely
bad.
not the second Exorcist.
The Exorcist, the second one, is quite
No, definitely
horrible.
not the second Exorcist. At all
Quite
costs,
horrible.
avoid the second Exorcist.
Now,
The
Hmm.
what do
second
you
Exorcist is something that James would recommend.
and what do you think killed the second Exorcist? Because you had James Earl Jones and Richard Burton in the same film, so.
They were collecting checks. That was. I mean, that was. I take that upon myself because I think I was like 14 years old or something when that came out. and I recommended the film to all my friends. Like, we need to go see this. We got to go see this. This is going to be so scary. We got to see it. I hyped them all up, and we went to 42nd Street, and I felt so embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everybody went because of my recommendation. It was a total disaster.
I said never recommend a film again.
Yeah, I shut my mouth until I recommended what's the name of that film I recommended to you, Penelope?
What?
What's the film? With the guys going through the streets in New York.
Oh man, not the Warriors.
Oh, the Warriors.
Oh Lord have mercy.
But the
Yeah.
first Exorcist, come on, you got a girl with her head turning around. You know, you got a girl who's doing really nasty things with a cross. You got a girl floating up in the air. I mean, that movie scared the crap out of me. I had no business seeing it. I was too young. But I was taken to the movies. I was taken to that movie and saw it anyway. I was in my, still in my Sunday school phase, and so I like take everything literally. And then I gotta get the book. I had to get the book so I could scare myself some more. I said, oh my God, this is the scariest movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Right.
It had such an impact on me. So The Exorcist,
Absolutely.
and when the priest comes in and they say, the words to make her, make the demon leave, and it was just fantastically scary. So yeah, that's my number one. I don't see how anyone else can have a number one because that's the number one.
Okay. So what's your second though?
My second one is, and this is going to be a surprise to you guys, but it's Chucky.
Child's Play.
Child's Play.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't think that that's a possession movie, but just like Cranston said, it's a different kind of possession, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a possession of a doll.
Mm-hmm.
The good guy, doll.
It's possessed by a criminal.
Yeah, possessed by a criminal.
Murderers.
Who's looking to jump into the body of a child.
Yeah.
And so,
or anybody, I guess. The child that.
Well, he picks that kid to jump into. So.
Right.
And so and then they do that incantation and all that kind of stuff. And then of course the sequels are really bad. They're not bad, but they're like tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
They don't take themselves seriously. So you got the Bride of Chucky and all this. It's really
campy.
off. Yeah, campy stuff. It's really
campy.
good stuff. Yeah, and so that's my second one.
A satirization of his former self.
Yeah, and so people don't think of that as a possession film, but it's definitely a possession film because it's all about those dolls are not talking by themselves; they're possessed.
Mm-hmm.
They're possessed.
Yeah, they're possessed. Yeah. So, how about you, Sonia? Do you have possession films that?
I have films that have elements of possession in them because I don't tend to watch the possession films because that stays too
Horror?
vividly in my mind.
Okay.
And it's like one of my fears. But like Beetlejuice's possession scene.
Yeah, I guess does have some possession things in it. It does.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And I did manage to see enough of Evil Dead 2 that I remember it had possession in it. So I tend to go for the more campier parts of it. That don't have the gore and or extreme visualizations type stuff. And because my roommate was naming a whole list of stuff, I went, nope, didn't see that. Nope, didn't see that. But yeah, when we came on, it was like, wait, Ghostbusters had a possession scene, and so did Beetlejuice. So yeah, those are the types I tend to enjoy more. Or the alien that's taking the body for a walk to see what it's like to be human. I can't remember any specific films this moment, but those are the types I find more enjoyable.
Yeah. In fact, when you say that,
Penelope, you gotta say the lines from Ghostbusters.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Okay.
Say the
All right,
lines.
I have to look it up. I have to look it up. You have to give me a minute to look it up. But I'll get back to it. I'll get back to it.
Well,
Um,
well, one about the alien just taking a human body for a walk just to see what it's like, kind of, would
mhm,
be. And there's one of my boring stories behind it and stuff, but there was this studio that had two movies that had, they thought, pretty much the same plot about an alien coming to Earth and
mhm,
trying to get back home, and they were trying to decide which one would they like, and one of them just had a hard time going through it. They thought the second movie was better than the first one. The first one couldn't get any product placements because they thought that the alien, when they saw the mock-up, was too ugly, and they didn't
mhm,
want it to be associated with their product, so they turned it down. And it finally ended up going to Universal, where they made it for like a shoestring budget for Under the Radar, under another title and everything. And one of the things that happened was because they originally went to M&M's for product placement, M&M turns them down. And instead, the Reese's people said, okay, we'll take it up.
mhm.
So that's why Elliot left a trail of Reese's Pieces to lead
Isn't that
E.T.
amazing?
into the house. And the guy at M&M's in their marketing department who said, no, we want to stay away from that, was probably looking for a new job right after the first week. The other movie that the studio stuck with, even though they had to go through like 5 directors till they finally got somebody to do it,
Mhm,
and that was Starman, which had
Mm-hmm.
which kind of had, it wasn't exactly a possession part, kind of like a repossession or recreation kind of theme that
mhm,
went along with it.
Yeah.
mhm.
And while Starman was not by any means a bad movie, and was really well done and quite enjoyable and everything, but it didn't make quite as much as ET did.
Right, right.
So the guy from M&M's and the guy from Columbia were both saying, trading, resumes and stuff after that. So
Yeah.
You
I
got to
I
work in the
mean,
mailroom.
yep. There you
Go back to the
go.
mailroom.
So you
Go
can't
back
even
to the
work there.
mailroom, Randy.
Okay, all right. I found it.
Okay,
That it's
Ghostbusters.
it's Vince Clortho, the key master of Gozer. And he says, Gozer the traveler, he will come in one of the pre-chosen forms. During the rectification of the Voldrini, the traveler came as a large and moving Torg. Then, during the third reconciliation of the last of the McTetric supplicants, they chose a new form for him, that of a giant slore. Many Shuvs and Zulus knew what it was to be roasted in the depths of the slore that day, I can tell you. We
I
used to say
love
that all the
that.
time.
That's so stupid. I love it.
Yeah, we used to like that.
yeah, that's the kind of stuff you see. Yeah, that was
Mm-hmm.
Aykroyd that came up with that. Yeah, so
He was brilliant.
That's
Brilliant.
great. And I didn't know that Dan Aykroyd had such, his family in real life has such a background in the
In the occult.
supernatural. Yeah, in the
In the
cult.
occult. That is his family actually does that.
yeah,
So
that's
it's
the
kind of
funny thing is they say any movie that he's in where they have a bunch of conspiracy theories or something like that. Say yeah, that's him. He's like that all the time. So.
cool.
But the one line that I loved from Ghostbusters I always remembered was the line in the follow-up where it says, "Are you a god?" And
God,
it says no, and then
no.
they get zapped, and it says,
If somebody asks you if you're a god, say
Say
yes.
yes.
"Yes."
You know, I use that in
Okay.
real life. I use that line in
Yes.
real life.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
But I
somebody
tell you, I mean, good.
somebody turned down a job, like a high
Mhm.
level job. They said,
Mhm.
"Oh," then somebody else filled the job. Then they said, "Oh, I like to apply for the job." I said, "Too late. It's too late to file for the
Mhm.
job because it's already been filled." It's like, did somebody ask you if you're a god?
Mhm.
Say yes.
That's right.
Rule of Hollywood: if somebody asks you if you can do a particular thing, say yes and then go
Mhm.
learn.
Then you'll figure it
Yeah,
Mhm.
out.
fake
But yeah,
it.
I mean, I think it's earlier talking about walking around as someone
Hmm.
else's human form. Another film that does that, and I thought of it, is Soul, right?
Yes.
Because it comes in and it takes
Oh
over
yeah.
his
Hmm.
body. So that is another type of possession, that it takes over his body and walks around in it. It's kind of wild, I thought.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that is another form of possession.
Well, there's
And the
another
other,
one. Well,
Hmm.
speaking of one that, of course, that if I don't make notes, this stuff just goes straight out of my head. So it'll come back before we go, I hope. But another one that was a possession movie was, I think the title was All of Me, Lily Tomlin
So,
and Steve Martin.
I
Martin.
remember that film, yes. And then
Remember the
what
Warren
is
Beatty movie?
Heaven
Heaven
Can
Can
Wait?
Wait. Yep.
Yes. Is it
Yeah.
that? Well, is that? Yeah, because I guess he takes over another person's body. Same thing. They do that same thing. What is it? The most recent Wonder Woman. Doesn't he take
Which
over
I
his
hated.
own self or some
I
other
hated that.
person's body, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I hated that. That
Some
was
other guy's
horrible.
body. Yeah, I
That
did
was
not like
horrible.
that at all.
Yeah, that was
Mm-mm.
horrible. That was the
Yeah,
worst thing.
I don't know what they were thinking with that, but yeah,
Yeah.
that didn't work out for me. But
Okay.
that
And
also had the possession issue and Fallen, the Denzel Washington
oh
film
yeah.
that had the moving constantly
Did you
moving.
did you like the way that ended?
No, well, okay, let's put it. I did not like
Without
it.
giving away the ending.
I did not like it, but it's like, yeah, okay, but, yeah, but okay, I give it to them. All right, I give it to them.
Okay. There
Yeah,
was
but
one.
Fallen.
Okay, there's an interesting concept, although they didn't quite make it work as well as it could have. In the second Doctor Strange movie, where Wanda takes over the bodies of her other cells in the other universes, she controls those bodies um, to look for her kids. I thought it was an interesting concept that it's you projecting yourself onto another you, but but it just didn't they didn't follow through enough for me to see, what was the ramifications. Wanda did all these horrible things in another Wanda's body. What would happen? Did it hurt her? Did it hurt the other Wanda? Was the other Wanda in there screaming because she could see something going on, but she couldn't control her body? Because it's essentially you, but it's not you.
But the
Yeah,
philosophical question would be if it's really another you that you're possessing, is that really possessing
It's like
somebody
it's like
different or what?
invasion. It's like invasion of the body snatchers, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like if you have invasion of the body snatchers, somebody that looks exactly like you takes your
hmm
place.
hmm
Is
and
that
other people
possession?
around you
But they
might not
absorb all of your
immediately, yeah,
they
and they may
absorb
not
all your
immediately
knowledge.
understand that that's not you.
Hmm.
But they absorb all your knowledge and all your
That's right,
experiences and everything else.
right.
Is that possession or kind of like reverse possession or something?
But
No,
Or
is it
that's
your body? But they actually make their own body, don't they?
no, that's
Or do they get into your
replacement.
body? I don't.
Yeah, that would be replacement. But
Yeah.
yeah, in this case, the it was projecting your consciousness into
hmm
another you, a you in a different universe.
Hmm.
So that person has had different life experiences and all of that.
Right.
You would think that if you showed the conflict, I wouldn't do this, but I'm the one in control of the body type thing.
hmm
So it was the writing didn't give it the nuances that I felt that was necessary to sh- show that this was not normal for this person in
hmm
this universe.
Right. Right. Alright. Is there any other possession films that, as we talk about them, that we think did the job well, did the job poorly? I remember one of my favorites is, of course, what do we call it in The Shining? Who is possessed by the demonic spirit of the entire Overlook Hotel, right?
the entire hotel is
The
possessed,
Overlook
or
Hotel is
is it
possessing.
or is it haunted? I don't know. What is the haunted possessed?
But he's doing these things he otherwise would not do. You know,
But
he is
but
being
he's never.
possessed by
But he's
this,
not possessed though.
but he is possessed by this hotel. He's doing things he would not do. He's it's forcing him to do these things, these
He's
horrible
manipulated.
things. Hmm.
Well, something that was good, and it's a spoiler for a 60-year-old book or something like that, but
Hmm.
that they didn't show in the movie, but it started out that, of course, Jack's thing was that he was trying to restart his life and he was going to become a serious writer and
Hmm.
everything. And the original version of his book when he started was going to be a sort of a new version of Catcher in the Rye,
Mm-hmm.
and everything about this overbearing teacher who was
Mm-hmm.
destroying this idealistic student. As the hotel begins to take him over, the premise of the book changes, and all of a sudden, the protagonist is the teacher who is being getting revenge on these really privileged, whiny kids that are taken over and everything. So,
Yeah. And then he also changes his point of view
yeah.
regarding his abusive father,
Mm-hmm.
who seriously abused his mother. And then it goes from what a sadistic creep to they had it coming.
Mm-hmm.
She had it coming.
Yeah.
So I think there's something possessing him, changing the way that he sees the world. His entire perspective on the world has changed because of the possession by this terrible Overlook Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it is a form of possession. So let's put
Yeah.
it out there.
It's a form of
Oh,
possession.
yeah. Also, I see Nikki's trying to jump in here, but it says her device is not connected, so I don't know if she can hear us. But I know she will remember this from when we were young, and so we got to figure: is it possession or not? It was two films. One of them is Christine, you know, and the other is The Car. Did y'all anybody else see The Car or Christine? Christine
Well,
is the Stephen King, uh, film about a demonically
mm-hmm.
possessed car.
I'm
And
laughing because my roommate just positively responded to your choices. She's listening in on YouTube.
yeah, I mean the car and Christine. And
Okay.
I think I was to see the movie The Car. I don't know, like 10 times when I was growing up.
You
And it's
liked it?
not that great, but I still watch it. I don't know why we watch this film so
It's
often.
on cable,
I
that's
was just
why.
saying, well, there was some cable too, but we watch The Car, man, a lot of times. Don't you remember that?
I saw it like 4 times. I couldn't
Yeah,
sit.
yeah, we watched
Okay.
that movie a lot.
Now the car is currently, I think there are all of these channels that I never knew existed for until I got
Hmm.
an antenna connection. And there's I think Universal has a horror channel, and then somebody else has one that shows horror movies, and the car keeps popping up. And I said, no, I'm not going to even look at it because I said that has to be just a Christine ripoff. So is the car just a Christine ripoff, or?
Not really. I mean, it was a James Brolin, and I can't remember what the woman's name is, and I know that's horrible. I don't remember her name, but I will look it up on IMDb. But they live in this town, and this car keeps running people over, and there's no driver in it. It's just running people over. It's like a possessed car. Unlike Christine, that has the guy, he's driving around, in the car, Christine. But I got to tell you, it was something. I mean, chasing people down, running them over, especially who was it? Oh, what is his name? I cannot remember the actor, but he was sitting outside early one morning playing like the opening overture for William Tell on the
Mm-hmm.
French horn, and he gets run over by the car. It's like, wow, he's just playing beautiful music. The car didn't like it at all, and yeah, it was just bad. Kathleen Lloyd, Kathleen Lloyd played the love interest in the car, and I guess because they had some really kind of wild, normal type things go on, because she and the James Brolin character, they get up in the morning, out of in bed, and he rolls over to kiss her, and she covers her mouth with dragon breath. You never saw that in movies before. So they
No.
tell the person that you're with, dragon breath. Come here, brother, don't kiss me. It was, I thought that was kind of cute.
Well, that's one of those real life things that you look at. And we should do a show on that about real life things that they always violate in movies, because
Yeah,
people
yeah.
get up in the morning and they're all over each other. And And there's a thing, I don't know if they show it in your place, but there's this
Mhm.
commercial from Mando. That's the men's version of Lumi. And they're talking about, they have this thing with this couple that they're doing the dishes and they bump into each other and they turn around and they give each other that particular look. And then the next thing you see them piling clothes up on the, all over the place and everything. And the narrator is going on and they said that, and Lumi is like is good for 72 hours. So you can go 72 hours without taking another bath and be fresh. And I'm thinking about, yeah, okay, so.
Yeah.
You can, but should you?
Well, I mean, I look at it this way. If you're a person who's doing like long hours and you want it to, roll over. I mean, you wash, you just don't lose the deodorant. That's all. You
What?
can wash, but it
You
stays
wash it,
on
don't
you.
use it. You're gonna stink if you wash
No,
and don't use the donor.
no, the Lumi will stay on you. I mean, it stays on you. It,
I don't
it
know
kills
anything
out the
about no
bacteria.
movie.
But I'm going to tell you, this is the problem though. If everybody's bodies are different, I know we're off topic, but if the Lumi stops working. And somebody told me this story about them having the Lumi, and they went like, supposedly 72 hours. They didn't quite make it to 72 hours, you know, and it wore off on them before 72 hours. And their spouse said to them, "Oh no, you got to get up." I said, "You got to get up."
You smell like you
Yeah,
smell like the man Campbell's Manhandler soup.
yeah, you got to get up. They said, "No, you got to get
Well,
up."
well, actually, this is still on topic because remember when people would say, "What possessed you to do that?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
there you
what
go. Yeah,
possessed you?
thank you.
What possessed you
Ooh,
to
all
believe in
right.
adver- What possessed you
As
to believe in
ads, yeah, yeah,
advertising that you won't
yeah.
wash? You won't wash up for 3 consecutive days.
Hmm.
If you're
because
I
gonna
mean,
they
put
ask
it
the
to
told
the
you it
question.
would
test,
work.
Okay, okay. Now we have another question too. My question is, in something like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, is that a possession or is it just a split personality?
it's a chemical transformation.
I
But
think
it's not
it's
a. Mhm.
I think it's both because he began to think of Hyde. Well, this is from the musical Jekyll and Hyde. That as Hyde took over, he began to develop his own personality because
Mhm.
Jekyll was too good to go out and kill people and stuff, but Hyde wasn't. So I think that was
Mhm.
possession because they were like
No, it's the
fighting
same
this thing.
dude. It's the same guy. It's like one guy, is a doctor. The other guy like to beat the crap out of people with a cane.
But
That's
Okay.
that
why.
No.
but
Okay. But. Okay. In that same um mindset. Think about it, the same frame of mind. The new film, The Substance. When has anybody seen it yet? No. Yes. Substance.
I
Okay, we'll
seen
talk
it.
about
no.
it later. Yeah, again, that's another, is this possession?
It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers to
Yeah,
me.
I guess a different thing. It's hard to explain. But we have to see that and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, what about this? If you if
Hmm.
you if you're doing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, what
Right?
about any werewolf film? Right? Anytime someone transforms into a beast,
I think that's a form of possession.
that's a form of possession, right?
Yeah,
Because
because
you
you're
you're
not
normal.
you.
Yeah, you don't have any control over it. This
Yeah.
thing turns
And
you
it's
into this other
doing
thing.
things that you normally wouldn't do, that things that you wouldn't think of doing. You have no memory of it. It's almost like a completely different entity is doing this thing. So I would think it is kind of like a form of possession. And I have a question about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Classically, does he have any memory of what Mr. Hyde does?
He has a memory that Hyde has done something wrong, and when he
Mm-hmm.
hears about it, he knows that's who did it, but he consciously doesn't remember doing it. It's like he blacks out and he wakes up and says, "Oh, wait a minute, how'd I
Yeah.
end up here?" So
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
That's why I would think it's chemically induced
yeah,
split personality.
it's like
Okay.
you become a mean drunk. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't remember anything I did
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
you, but
Yeah.
I apologize.
And maybe that's
yeah,
what it came from.
yeah,
Somebody
officer, yeah.
a mean drunk, that I'm a different person when I've been drinking than when
So
I'm not.
I get a what you call it, a mulligan, because I like When
I get
I
a do
did it,
over. Yeah,
yeah, but
I
I
get a do
complete
over,
doing,
man.
yeah, because when I robbed the bank or I beat the crap out of somebody, I was totally
Mhm.
drunk. I don't remember any of that, and then I passed out. I went home and jumped to the bed and slept.
Mhm. And if you didn't catch me when I was doing it as that other person, well, that's your problem, right?
Right, right.
You should have caught me.
But you're carrying the same ID and everything else. You're just drunk.
Yeah, yeah. What
Yeah.
if Mr. Hyde makes his own new ID? Can he do that?
That's just identity theft. That's not really.
No, no, no. But think about it. Like in, for instance, as we will discuss sometime later, I hope, in the substance, you know, a completely different identity,
But it's still her. I mean,
right?
everybody
But
knows the
but you
premise
still
of.
got her own ID. You shouldn't have the same
Well, everybody knows the
identification.
premise. Everybody knows the premise of the substance, right?
Right, right.
Everybody
It's
knows. I mean, no people have seen the film, but no, it's no secret. But it is
right, right.
basically Demi Moore. A younger Demi Moore comes out of Demi Moore's body
Mhm.
and starts to do stuff, and the old Demi Moore, as they say, stays home because I guess she's too old for Hollywood. But the younger Demi Moore is perfect for Hollywood.
Right.
But it's still Demi Moore.
But it's not because she has no recollection of what that other entity is doing at any time. And she basically finds out afterwards this is what she has been doing, but does not have any knowledge of it herself. So I think it's possession
Who's
or body
possessed?
snatcher. I don't know. Or body snatcher? I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird one to try to figure out how to peg that because it has its own body, but they're connected. So I don't know. It's very interesting, you know?
Yeah, the body snatchers I think is more kind of reverse possession to me because it's like this new body's created and it absorbs
Hmm.
all of your memories and everything
Hmm.
else. It just acts. It doesn't have any emotions or anything like that.
Wait, now which one is that? You took the
The body
substance.
snatcher.
Oh, the body snatchers. Okay, the body snatcher knows everything. Yeah, that knows everything. It knows all your everything that you knew up to the time that the body snatcher came into existence. That
Right.
doesn't know everything moving forward.
Right. And while it's being formed in
Hmm.
that pod, I mean, no spoilers here, but while it's being formed in that pod, it's absorbing all of your memories and experiences.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a scary thing. All right, but
Okay,
that
well,
again, go on. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I just thought of two. Then I said, all of my possessions are scientific possessions. So there's
Mhm.
two. One would be, would you consider the thing as possession?
Oh gosh, absolutely,
Oh yeah, I think so.
absolutely.
I think I would.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
John Carpenter's The Thing.
Because it jumps in you, right?
Yeah, and then turns into you and possesses you completely, right? Because you're
Yeah.
gone. I mean, it just
But
takes
it doesn't
over,
make a new you. It's inside of you.
and then it takes over you. It just like
Yeah.
completely, and then
Right.
it's like it gets in you and sucks up all yourself and looks all like you and everything. Because when you kill it, it's that thing. It's not you. It's a
Well.
thing that's left
Well.
behind.
Right.
You know? Yeah,
And,
completely.
and, and the other one would be source code.
Okay, I wish I could know what that was. So, what is source code?
Really? Okay, source code was Duncan Jones's, I think, first film. And it was Jake Gyllenhaal, Vera Farmiga, and Jeffrey Wright, and
Okay.
and um,
He's in
and
that spaceship, right?
no, it's not spaceship. He is a Jake Gyllenhaal is a combat pilot in Afghanistan who wakes up one day and he says that he has been sort of
Oh,
volunteered.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot. I'm okay. This is one thing you have to understand about me. I see a whole lot of movies. I remember these movies. I remember the plots and everything,
Hmm.
but I have no idea what the name is.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I remember this.
Hmm.
Okay, this is a very strange film, actually. I mean, yeah, I mean when you find out what's really
Hmm.
happened, you know. So yeah, okay, I guess yeah, that is I guess a form of possession, huh?
Yeah. But
Very
then it gets to the ending where the question is, because he was using this other guy's body, his consciousness in this other guy's body. At the end of the movie, does the guy get his consciousness back, or does he end up taking over that guy's consciousness? And
I'd have to see it again
yeah,
to see that to address that, but I have to see it again.
hmm,
It took me a minute to remember what you were talking about, but
yeah,
yeah, I'd have to see it again. And we put out those questions, say, if you've seen Source Code, what do you think? Is this a
hmm,
possession film? If it is a possession film, when does the possession begin? When does it end?
hmm.
Yeah, very good. Right, it says Source Code. I thought you said there was two.
Well, source code in the thing, yeah.
Oh, the thing. Okay, there we go. Um, wow. Anybody else? That's really good. I mean, the thing is like, yeah, ultimate possession film. I mean, they take you all the way over. They don't play around. There's none of you left when they're done, but they know all your memories and everything.
They're
Getting up to that point.
inside your body, and then just operating your body.
Yeah, yeah.
You
All you are
walking
is a
around.
skin puppet.
Skin puppet. Yeah.
So yeah,
Mm.
that's very good. I know, of course, we had on our list. We're trying to make sure that we got through all the ones we had on our list. Oh, the other one I did not place on my listing as I was going through, but I did remember Men in Black, when the farmer is,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
possessed by whatever that thing is, the alien, right?
No, I would say no. I think he just outright killed him and just took over his
Well, that's
body.
what I mean. He took over his body. Yeah, he did. He possessed his body. He
Mm,
took it all over, and he was doing stuff with it.
Yeah.
Like you said, walking around in his body.
Meat suit.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty bad. But
Uh,
yeah, I think if it's not possession, then what is it?
Theft.
yeah. Oh,
Ninth of the law, possession. He took it,
yeah.
right?
Car theft.
Full body identity theft. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I thought of
Anybody
that one.
remember? Anybody remember a old movie called Donovan's Brain?
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I maybe have seen it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I may have seen it, but since I don't know, can't put the name with the film. I may have seen it, but I have no idea.
Okay, so Donovan's Brain is about this. I guess it's a brain that takes over. It's disembodied brain that takes over this other guy's body
Mm.
and his brain. So that's possession.
I
Mhm.
guess, or like the man with two brains. Does
No,
that
that's Steve
brain take
Martin,
over?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but doesn't that take over the other woman's body with the other brain? The Kathleen Turner body gets another brain in it.
No, I mean she
She-
got a physical brain. Donovan's brain. There's no physical transfer of brain.
Okay, he's just like,
It's just a brain in a jar.
okay. But I'm just
That
saying, but isn't hers possession as well? Did they now put this brain, or just a transplant is different from possession?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a transplant.
You got
Okay, I'm with you.
transplant. Yeah, you got a whole
Yeah,
new
okay.
brain. And,
Whole new brain. All right, all right.
the Donovan's brain, as Cranston, correct me if I'm wrong, but Donovan's brain is a brain that's it's in some kind of contraption that throws its mind into this other guy's body and brain, and he becomes this guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He becomes his literal meat puppet, so
Wow.
Yeah. So I think this film is like 1950 something.
Yeah, I remember the name is very, very familiar, and I
Listen,
may have
if you
seen
ever
it.
watched, you know how these in every town, every city, there's a on Saturday night there's a one of growing up there's one of these they show like what's the name of it in Fort Lauderdale? What was it?
Oh, it's
Grave?
this creature feature.
Yeah,
Empty
Creature Feature.
Graves is
Empty Grave. Every city has one of these Saturday night chiller theater, chiller creature feature stuff. And Donovan's Brain was a favorite film, along with like the 50-foot Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
yeah.
Plan 9 from Outer Space. So it's on heavy rotation. So you probably saw it. You probably don't remember the title.
Yeah, or I don't know that's what the name of it was. I have to check it out
Right.
and see what it looks like. Those
Right.
things I have to look at the images of it, just like source code. Oh yeah, I've seen that. I just forgot the name of it.
Right. Right. But that's a possession film, man. It's
Mhm.
kind of sciencey, but kind of implausibly sciencey, but sciencey.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I need to look back at the hidden because I think that's the film that I was remembering. That the chick uh, that she walks around.
She's a stripper.
Yeah, yeah. Is that the one? The hidden? Is
She wouldn't
that
hide
one?
nothing then.
No, sure wasn't. What's the other one? But I don't know. It's not possession, is it? It's just that the thing keeps going from person to person. I don't think there's any possession. I can't remember the name of it. I'm looking at this Donovan's brain thing. I don't think I've seen this.
You didn't see that?
No, I'm looking at the trailer. Just don't. I don't know. I have to see the whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
probably
watch that
seen
this
it. Like
time.
right in the middle, you say, "Oh, I've seen this."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's one of those
Yeah.
things probably. But, oh, this movie. Okay.
Right.
All right. Does anyone else have any favorites that they can recall, or not so favorites, where you think that the possession was done poorly? Like, for instance, what is it, Audrey Rose? I don't know if anybody remembers that. It had uh, I don't know who the parents were, but it was a little girl, and she would go to sleep at night, and she would have these nightmares, and then she actually was being possessed by the spirit of a little girl who had been locked in a car when there was an explosion and she died. Remember that one?
Ew. No, I don't remember
Audrey
that.
Rose?
I
I
remember the title.
vaguely remember. I vaguely remember that
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Vaguely.
yeah. And that one was a possession film. And oh my gosh, who was in it? I'm gonna have to look it up because I mean I remember the film, but I don't remember any of the people who were Anthony Hopkins and Marsha Mason. Marsha Mason was the mother of the little girl, and Anthony Hopkins is the father of the little girl who was in possession.
Mm.
So yeah, it was so that was a possession film as well.
What's the name of that movie with Abby Lincoln is in it?
Oh, what is that? Is it Abby? No, let me see.
I'm remembering it. I can't remember the name. I think Abby Lincoln was in it, and she was possessed.
I remember who she possessed by,
I don't know.
or what was she possessed by? See, this is the time where you need James because he would know
Yeah.
that.
But it
He
Yeah,
would
reminded me
know.
of another one that he would know, remember, and this was one with Glenn Turman. And I can't think who the co-star was, but this one was a classic of the early 70s,
JD's Revenge.
JD's Revenge. Yes.
JD's
Yeah,
Revenge. Yep.
JD's Revenge. Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to find it.
what are you trying to find?
Ah, Abby Lincoln.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find the
got it.
film that you're referring to. Uh, I'm looking at her. But when was this?
70s.
Um,
You don't see it? Maybe I'm mistaken.
70s, 70s. Um, real movie or TV movie?
Real.
Okay.
You don't see it?
No.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay. Now, maybe, are you sure it was Abby Lincoln?
I think it was.
Hmm. Hmm. I don't see it, but it could be anything.
It could be anything. I could be mistaken.
Yep. And I may not know how to spell. These are also things that happen. I don't know.
Okay,
I'm
it's
not
called
finding it.
Abby. It's called Abby.
Yeah, okay. I thought the film. I thought you were talking about Abby, but
Yeah, Abby.
Abby Lincoln's not in it, right?
I don't think she is,
No.
but it's called Abby, and William
Yeah.
Marshall is in it.
Yeah.
And you know how I searched for this film?
How?
The search term was black woman possessed 1970s film.
Thank you. There we go.
And the
Black
first
Woman
thing that came up was
Possessed.
Abby.
Abby. Black Woman Possessed. 1970s film. Very good.
And I ain't trying to be too what you call it
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. So that is your other possession film, Black Woman Possessed film, black film, black. Was your
well, the
terror?
other one that came up, I said
Mhm.
black woman possessed 1970
Mhm.
film. The trilogy of terror came up.
Ooh, Karen Black.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was good. Which ones? She played her sister. Well, she thought that they were sisters, but
No,
she
no, no,
actually had a
no, no.
split
The last
personality.
one, the final story.
Oh, at the very, very end.
Right.
Okay, with the doll.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, all right. That is, yeah, that's yeah. Okay, that is a good one as well.
Although Karen Black isn't black, her name is Black.
Yeah, her name is Black Karen Black. Yeah, but man, she's the queen. That was fantastic. All the trilogy of terror is fantastic, and she was fantastic in everything.
Yeah, she was good.
Yeah,
And,
fantastic.
some people hated that movie. I don't understand
How
why.
could anybody hate the trilogy of terror?
Well,
I
you
like
know,
I say you hate the trilogy of terror. I am judging you now. I am judging you if you
Well, I
hate the
think
trilogy of terror.
it's with some people that they're just genres that they don't like no matter what, and one that
Hmm.
just absolutely surprises me is that some things I can say, well, I don't like science fiction, I don't like this, I don't like that.
Hmm.
But when I hear people say, like, I don't like comedy, so I'm like, what people got to have me laughing about? I said, okay.
Okay.
you're laughing. Hey, listen, we knew a guy. We knew a guy in school who said he didn't like music. Okay, so it's like,
Yes, like don't ever say
so
that
you
again
get a
in
lot of
public.
people that don't like stuff. I don't know how you can
That
exist.
yeah, I agree.
I don't know how you can exist in the world without like it. Music
I
is
mean,
everywhere.
not like I don't like disco or
I
I
don't
don't
like
like jazz.
country, or I
I
don't
like
like disco.
classical music.
I don't like
I
hip
don't
hop.
like music.
I don't like music.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, it's okay. That's probably not something you may not want to share with
yeah.
too many other people.
When he said that to us, we wanted to, like, it was a moving car, and while the car was moving, we wanted to throw him out of the car.
Believe us,
well,
we're helping you.
well, sometimes you tell yourself, well, maybe it's one of those things they talk about this person has this weird condition where they don't do this, or,
Well,
their
could be.
brain is rewired. So,
Could be. I think that if that's the case, then they need to be doing scientific experiments on you.
Well,
mm,
the thing about the trilogy of terror is that it has something for everyone. I mean, you may not be a horror fan, but the only horror story in it is the last story, because the first story is more, suspense or,
Yeah.
you know, psychological. The first two stories actually are like that, aren't they? And then
yeah.
only
Well,
the
I guess
last one
yeah.
is
I
really
guess
true, pure horror, right?
yeah. Yeah. Well, it's one that is supernatural. The other things are
Supernatural.
horror, but that's the only one that is actually
Well, it's not.
supernatural.
Is it horror? Oh, the
I
other
think
two.
when you're killing people, that's kind of horrible, don't you think?
Well, if
Are,
it's a doll in a box chasing you with a knife, I would count that as supernatural.
That's
and
supernatural. But the other one,
you've been caught that as horror.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's supernatural horror. I'm saying the other two are horror; they're just not supernatural. Now the one where the serial killer one, come on, that's horror.
No, when the teacher is
She's a
doing the
serial
thing with the
killer.
suit. Yeah, so is that horror?
Yeah,
I
she's a
would I
serial
would say
killer.
that's not. I would say that's not horror to
I
me.
do. I
If it's
think that's
not
horror.
horror, if it's not horror, what would you classify it as?
Like psychological suspense or something, or it's not horror. Horror to me I'm not an expert in the the terminology of it, but horror to me is like King Kong. If that's horror,
Well,
Frankenstein
no, but the
is horror.
end,
Werewolf is horror.
I'm going to tell you the reason I consider horror is at the end when you think all this time that all this was happening. There was, oh my God, that's oh my God, she's a killer,
What
you
is
know.
this? But it's explainable, right? So yeah,
But
okay.
just
That makes
because I mean, it's explainable,
Did
but
I make it
that's the reason it's
horror?
not. It makes it horror. It's just not
Is
supernatural. It's
is
still
is
horror.
psycho horror?
Yes, it is.
I don't know if it's horror to me.
Psycho is a horror
If it
movie.
No,
if
it's
it if it excites you, if it excites that portion of your brain where you can actually feel the fear or understand the fear, I think that's what would
Yeah,
classify it as
I
well.
horror.
mean,
Well, to
with
me, then, if you're
Psycho, like
talking
looked it up
about,
on IMDb, Psycho classifies it as psychological horror, psychological thriller, slasher horror,
yeah,
suspense
I call it.
mystery,
I
horror,
would say it's a
and
thriller. It's
mystery.
psychological thriller. I think it's psychological thriller because it's like if
It's
I'm
all
living in,
those things. It's
but
all
if I'm
those
living in,
things.
let's say I'm living in a city
Uh-huh.
and there's a serial killer terrorizing my city.
Uh-huh.
Am I living in a horror story? Am I living in a horror
Are you
situation?
If you
scared?
if you're scared and fit the profile,
Not all.
Yeah.
Well, not all the time. I mean, I have lived in a city
But
where
that's the
there's
reason
there's a
why people
serial,
get
but I haven't.
but that's the reason why people get killed in horror movies. Because they let down. They go about
Well, you
living their
have
regular
to.
life and you think everything then you get killed. And
How
that's
can
why
you?
it's a
How
horror
can you?
movie.
How can you? How can you be
And
in
you get
fear
killed.
24/7?
I'm just saying though, but that's why. Because you live in this world, this horrible thing is going on. For instance, for you, it was Son of Sam. But you didn't stop going out.
No,
You
I didn't
didn't
think
lock your
about it.
doors. You went out and did the normal things that you do. And if by chance, while David Berkowitz was out there getting ready to shoot some person, and you just happen to be standing in the wrong spot, yeah, you'd be counted among the number.
But it's not a.
That's
Is that a horror? Is that a
it is
horror
horror for the
situation?
people that he's hunting down to kill,
But they don't know they're
and you
being
could be
hunted
collateral
down.
damage.
They don't know they're
well,
But
you
being.
it's
the
it's just like
the
it's
Atlanta.
just
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
understand.
the Atlanta child murders. I remember my grandmother being in absolute horror leaving because she knew she was closer to Atlanta in Panama City, Florida than she was in New York. She was more terrorized that somebody would come and hurt because hurt. And I was like, "Well, Grandma, first they're tackling little black boys and all of
Mhm.
that stuff, and he may change his MO and come down here and kill you." She was actually in fear,
Mm.
so she's living in fear. So
But
yes,
it's
you can.
but somebody's doing it. To me, horror is something that's inexplicable, that shouldn't exist, doing a horrible thing, like a mummy,
That's supernatural horror.
like a
It's not.
mummy
It's a type of
or
horror. That's
Dracula.
supernatural horror. Yep,
That's
supernatural
those are
horror.
you're being
It is a
specific on the
But a
type.
subgenre. Yeah,
but a Jeffrey Dahmer is not horror.
that is still horror,
It's a crime.
but it's still a horror. I
Yes,
mean,
it's
but
still a horror.
okay. Let's do this. If you had Jeffrey Dahmer, but he wasn't really a real person, and someone wrote that as a fiction, it would be a horror story.
I can't understand. I don't understand why there would be a horror story. It's like a crime story to me.
Okay. Well, you continue having those thoughts, and we will be happy for you.
Thoughts.
Yeah, you keep doing that. All right.
Okay.
Any other? Go on. Cranston, you had something else
Uh,
addition?
Get Out.
Yeah, that's kind of possession.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is. They're getting in your body and taking it over. Get out of my body. Get out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But what,
you're right.
but when they get in your body, those people get in your body. No spoiler alerts here, but when people get in your body, what happens to you?
No, you're
You're like
gone.
you're in the what you call it place. Remember?
The sunken
It's
place.
like
Yeah.
the sunken place.
You can see it happening, but you can't control.
Yeah, and like the people there, they're crying, like they're trying to, and they can't get out. You know?
That's horror to me. That's horror.
Yeah. So yeah, get out. Excellent possession
Yeah,
film.
that's good. Yeah.
Good idea. Yeah. All right. Well, golly, y'all, we are come to the end of our programming day, and this was so much fun. You know?
Having fun with horror.
Yeah. It
Tis the
was great.
season.
That's right. And I have to say that coming up, I have to say on the, but now I guess we get to do our announcements. Anybody have any announcements they want to make for the coming weeks, etc.? No. All right, then I will.
I was going to say congratulations to our friend of the show, Milton Davis. He just won the Phoenix Award. I can't remember the name of the con, but for his significant contributions to the speculative fiction genre.
Fantastic.
They surprised him with it. So,
oh, how wonderful!
He just posted it on Facebook. I was just reading
very cool.
While I was trying to find titles.
Well, the other thing I guess is like we have to wait till James gets back because I know he is in the process of getting his book out there. So hopefully he'll be able to come back, do the show, or be a guest on the show to do some promotion of his book. I mean, lovely cover. I saw it online, but hopefully he'll have an opportunity to do that. I know we did not mention last week, I don't believe we did, the passing of Chris Christopherson, who the horror, genre people, we famously know him as Abraham Whistler from Blade. So, at least to acknowledge, that passing. Yeah. And the other is on November 1st, which is a Friday. I'm having the Penelope Flynn Hallowmas Spooktacular, where we will have several individuals that will come and read portions of their horror. We're going to talk about horror. The Hallowmas, I guess, holiday season, which is, as well Halloween, Day of the Dead, the All Souls Day, All Saints Day, all those days that come in that holiday, the Hallowmas, and the different horror genres that we have that may be attached to it, and kind of associating it also with like the Gravedigger's Ball, which is our theme. So
also John Amos. Not sure if John Amos ever been in a horror movie, unless you count Roots as a horror.
Okay.
But he passed away as well. Passed away in August, actually.
And then they announced it recently that he had passed. So yes, so that is another individual who has passed these last several weeks. So anybody else? I don't know. Do you have any birthdays coming up? We are in October. One of my sisters, just had a birthday. And happy birthday to Nanette for her birthday.
Unfortunately, ran into Milton.
Yeah, ran into Milton.
Not that Milton that we were just talking about.
The hurricane. Yeah, the hurricane Milton. We plan to
those
meet.
Two horrors. Sending out thoughts. I hate the phrase thoughts and prayers, but sending out strength to all those who are caught in those two.
Yeah. I mean, we had planned to meet in Orlando for
Milton
birthday,
said no.
and said no. And I stayed home.
No.
So there you go.
And there's another hurricane following that. That hurricane has a horrible name. It's called Nadine. Why would you name anything Nadine? But anyway, that hurricane is coming as well.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
very good. Okay, so I think that's the end. Next week, what was it? We had like several great topics you all like bandying about during the show. I think Cranston, you were saying something about our favorite comedy horrors. And I think, what was it you suggested also? I don't think you said something, and of course, in one ear and out the other, but hopefully I'll remember it soon enough.
That gives me a lot of confidence.
Okay.
So, well, you know what? I want to nail down this horror thing. I really do. Yeah, I don't want to talk around in a circle. I want to sound like I'm right. I just want to know what is truly horror.
Well, I those things. Horror is a situation that you did not, most of the times, did not cause, that you have no control over, and you don't know what to do to stop it.
Like I think of stuff like witches, Halloween horror.
You think
like
of horror as just being supernatural horror.
Yeah. It's
but it's Hannibal Lecter. Is that horror?
No, it's
right.
Not.
It is horror
to me. I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it just sounds like people doing heinous crimes.
But that's still a horror story.
Especially if they're doing them to you. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I think we've got 2 Sonias.
Yeah, horror is knowing that your computer complete is taking over
There,
and kicking you out.
there we go. There we go.
Your computer has taken over, it's become sentient and taken over.
Yeah. Well, I looked at literary terms and it says horror is a genre of fiction whose purpose is to create feelings of fear, dread, repulsion, and terror in the audience. So if the purpose is to create fear, repulsion, dread, or terror, then it's horror.
Okay.
Can be psychological, supernatural,
Hmm.
fill in the blank.
Right. But or the purpose is to create that sense of
Yeah.
fear and dread.
Well, let me put it this way. After November, we all may be caught up in a horror story.
After
This-
November, I have no intention to be caught up in any horror show. Because, I have my own
Because I
ideas.
got like this. What'd you say those emotions were again?
Horror, repulsion, dread, fear.
Yeah, I got all those.
Well, you know what? I got them already every day now. So what's the difference?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
It
I'd
will
rather
Get
have
sudden,
it.
chased by Frankenstein, and I got those things.
it
Hmm.
will suddenly be legal, because if you have somebody who says if we could make the purge a real thing, that would clear things up.
Mm,
That's you. I mean, that's the full range of emotions that Penelope just read.
hmm
I don't see how millions of people have those feelings right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. And so we're gonna try to make sure that that's enough of that nonsense. Okay.
Register,
Yep.
register, vote.
Register and vote. Register and vote, but only if you're voting for the right person. If
You know,
not, then stay home.
vote early, vote often.
Okay.
Right.
All right. All right. Well, that's it for us. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back again, same bat time, same bat channel, here in the Otherhood. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful remainder of your weekend and a productive week. Good night.
Good
Good night.
night.